Almost 11 years ago, writer and comedian Tina Fey teamed up with director Mark Waters to create a movie that has practically defined a generation. What was expected to be just another chick flick turned into a phenomenon that produced over $129 million in the box office. Based on the nonfiction book Queen Bees and Wannabes by Rosalind Wiseman, Mean Girls tells the coming-of-age story of Katie Heron, a 16-year-old girl whose first experience in a public high school goes horribly wrong when she gets assimilated into the popular group of girls known as the Plastics. Regina, Gretchen, and Karen, the three Plastics, attempt to initiate Katie into Girl World, while Katie and her friends, Janice and Damien, simultaneously attempt to detonate the leader and apparent root of all evil, Regina George. Mean Girls differs from a typical teenage satire film by taking a comedic approach to criticize teenage cruelty and melodrama. While Mean Girls is a unique satire of the high school experience, it is certainly not the original. Films such as The Breakfast Club and Heathers mock similar topics such as the cruelty with which teenagers treat one another. The difference is that Mean Girls uses comical tactics to over-dramatize social issues addressed by a teenage satire, whereas similar films use tactics that are more dark and sinister. As Tina Fey stated in an interview,
I hope so. I really wanted to make sure the movie was a comedy first.
Both Mean Girls and Heathers focus on the victimization of the popular queen and the degradation or devaluation of the victim by reducing his stature and dignity, characteristic of the satire's genre. In Mean Girls, North Shore High School dictator Regina George is overthrown by protagonist Katie Heron and her friends Janice and Damien. They comically invoke cruelties on Regina, such as giving her foot cream instead of face cream, and giving her calcium bars that make her gain weight. The audience could find comic relief watching their ludicrous plan unfold.
We're eating a Caltine bar.
I'm starving.
Man, I hate those things. Coach Carr makes us eat those when we want to move up a weight class.
What?
They make you gain weight like crazy.
Mother...
The director chose to display Regina's downfall through the decline of her wardrobe. Regina is initially viewed by other girls of North Shore as flawless, and many girls aspire to look and be like her. However, as the things that make Regina popular are slowly stripped from her, she is forced to wear clothes beneath her social status and is berated by her friends for wearing sweatpants.
Regina, we have to talk to you. Is butter a carb? Yes. Gina, you're wearing sweatpants. It's Monday. So that's against the rules, and you can't sit with us.
Similarly, Heathers focuses on Veronica's quest to dethrone the three Heathers, particularly leader Heather Chandler. Instead of depicting the comical downfall of the high school dictator, Heathers portrays a more cynical overthrow as Veronica and JD murder Heather Chandler.
I just killed my best friend and your worst enemy. Same difference.
Her death illustrates both the sinister tactics with which director Michael Lehman chose to satirize teenage cruelty, as well as demonstrate how teenagers tend to overreact to minuscule conflicts. Teenagers are notorious for overreacting to everyday situations. Both Mean Girls and Heathers satirize this aspect of teenage life, but with different approaches. Mean Girls utilizes the main characters, especially Gretchen Wieners, in an unusually astute and provocative script to epitomize the melodramatic attitude of a stereotypical teenager. From Regina's disapproval of the term fetch to Jason's advances on Taylor Waddell, Gretchen takes no offense lightly. Her greatest overreaction occurs as she delivers a monologue for her history class about Julius Caesar, which, in actuality, is simply a method for her to express her anger towards Regina.
Why should Caesar get to stomp around like a giant while the rest of us try not to get smushed under his big feet? What's so great about Caesar? Brutus is just as cute as Caesar. Yeah, Brutus is just as smart as Caesar. People totally like Brutus just as much as they like Caesar. And when did it become okay for one person to be the boss of everybody, huh? Because that's not what Rome is about. We should totally just stab Caesar!
Tina Fey utilizes lines from the script such as Gretchen's diatribe of Caesar to mock how teenagers tend to break out into near hysteria over the most trivial conflicts. Again, Heathers takes a more sinister approach to satirize teen overreaction through JD, an almost psychotic high schooler who believes himself to be a rebel. JD's overreaction to the everyday hardships of high school is evident through his manipulation of Veronica to be his accomplice in crime, and his determination to dethrone the popular kids who dominate the social infrastructure of Westerberg High School by murdering them. When two popular football players insult JD, he resorts to convincing Veronica to shoot them. The extreme measures JD takes to resolve simple conflicts reiterates the use of malevolence to address issues faced by teenagers. After 11 years, Mean Girls is still culturally relevant. The movie has a dominating presence on social media, and people of almost all ages can be heard reciting famous lines such as "She doesn't even go here," and "You go Glen Coco." As most other teen movies do, Mean Girls provides a social commentary on the trials of high school, and effectively does so in a humorous manner. Mean Girls breaks the conventions of a teen satire film by showing the downfall of the Queen Bee in a comical light rather than a more serious or sinister light, such as the downfall of Heather Chandler in Heathers. The serious attitude of a teenage film was also contradicted by Tina Fey's script that utilized lines delivered by the main characters to satirize teenage melodrama. In conclusion, while Mean Girls is classified as a teen satire film, it differs from its counterparts by using comical tactics to criticize teenage cruelty and dramatics.